So, reason for the meeting is we need to have a chat about the upcoming Bell Let's Talk scenario.
Yeah.
And I was listening on the radio yesterday, and they were calling it Blue Monday, and I thought, well, where did that come from all of a sudden? Anybody know?
So I actually recently looked it up because it has been out quite a bit, and Blue Monday basically is the day where people are most likely to actually report feelings of sadness or despair, which happens a lot this time of year with seasonal affective disorder especially.
So I guess that's why Bell Let's Talk does their thing in January, coming up, in about a week or so. What I want to do is kind of brainstorm some thoughts and ideas around what it is we want to do, so I thought we'd gather and chat about it. I know from my perspective, in thinking about my age group, because of course anxiety, depression, despair, I think has really ramped up over COVID. Would we agree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's even in the grandkids, it's in the aged, it's kind of everywhere, isn't it? Yeah. So I think it's even more important that we really kind of ramp all that up from an education perspective. But it leaves nobody untouched. Damn it, I see it all the time. I'm living in a condo. Most people my age have retired by now.
So you're experiencing and
so
seeing that
I'm seeing
more.
It around me, and I'm wagging my finger and going, no, I don't think so. Right? Turning 70 this year, folks. Yeah, no, not quite ready yet. So anyway, in looking at them and seeing them, there's a lot of single women where I live because it's a fairly secure building. I see them not going out. I see them either wandering the halls, looking for people to talk to. And when we see these seniors, I think it was really amplified during COVID when we saw them locked up.
Very much so. Not being able to go in and out of nursing homes and interaction was a huge thing that I think a lot of people experienced.
Yeah.
Big time. I experienced it.
Yeah.
I had that. Yeah.
And the anxiety of living in a place like that. I also see anxiety and depression manifest in loneliness.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, when they are desperate, when they are not feeling good, I think the mind goes round and round and down, they go down a slippery slope. When you're lonely, you especially, even if I think of my 90-year-old parents, crying out loud, locked up over COVID, fortunate they've got each other. But mum and dad say, we're last man standing, all their friends have gone, their family's gone. So that's another big area, I think, where depression hits.
Yes.
And they get kind of tired. So I think it's something that we need to get our followers looking at. Who's around them? Are there seniors in that situation, particularly at this time of the year when it's grey? Mother Nature blessed us with 2 days of sunshine, heavens bless her, and then gave us a double dose of grey today.
Wasn't that great though?
Oh, it was. And how did it make you feel?
Great.
Oh, great! Yeah, always. Yeah.
Real mood booster, right? It was fantastic. So I loved it. But back to square one today. Yeah. But I think too also we need to. So if we look at seniors as one group, there's that group of women that are on the hormonal journey. I think a lot of people forget about that group, and we talk about hormonal fog, lack of being able to focus and concentrate. But I can tell you go through a phase where your estrogen starts to drop. And of course, we have to remember that estrogen is a group of hormones.
Yes.
That estradiol that your ovaries produce starts to drop fairly early in life. It affects every single brain receptor. So I was listening to one woman and she called it living in a state of permanent jet lag, which I thought was kind of really cute, really appropriate. Some women call it brain fog. I think, like a lot of younger people even, not knowing what to take and not knowing what to do about that. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I think we need to itemize the fact that vitamin D is great for everybody, for every age group. Key. So I think we need to put that out in the socials. Key. Sure, women 45 and over, really into the hormonal journey. Yeah. You just can't beat adaptogens. Rhodiola, ashwagandha, resveratrol, for heaven's sake. Powerful antioxidant. There are things out there that people can do, so let's put those out there.
Small solutions.
The small solutions. So, Melissa, you work with the next generation down, Generation Z.
Yeah.
What do you see?
So I see a bit of a combination of people. Definitely, I know for myself, I'm a millennial, so all of my friends, for the most part, are millennials. And with my other jobs, I do work with a lot of Gen Z. And what I'm seeing, particularly over the last couple of years, even starting actually before COVID, if we think about it. You know, there was, you know, increased numbers of anxiety and depression, and particularly now, just with the way the world is evolving. Of course, this is out in the news. This is nothing shocking. The you know, giant markup in the housing market right now, just the cost of living in general. I'm finding a lot of people a certain age where, you know, at that age, their parents, you know, had bought a house, they had kids, family, you know, were somewhat financially stable. Whereas now they're, you know, at that same age, they're working, you know, anywhere between 2 to 4 jobs, and they can't get ahead of the bills. You know, they're just covered in debt. There's basically this kind of impending doom or hopelessness that a lot of people are feeling because they just can't feel like they're ever able to get ahead or be able to just settle in. They're always going to be kind of fighting and scrounging paycheck to paycheck.
Are they even finding the money to come to school? Is
So-
that generation being able to afford it?
Unfortunately what we're seeing is it's a lot of OSAP, which of course is common, but then what's happening, what I'm seeing increasingly is people are, you know, using OSAP once they get out of school, even if they get a job right away and they're able to start paying their bills, they're buried in so much OSAP and paying back OSAP, but also trying to save up money for a car or a house and pay just general rent. The cost of even food right now, you know, it just piles on more because it's just one more thing of debt that people have to get onto. And it just, again, it's like the sinking feeling that I think a lot of people don't know how to get out of. You get kind of stuck in that negative mindset.
Got the remedies. Okay, back to our remedies.
Yes,
we need to put that out there.
We do, yes. It's
38 remedies for 38 negative states of mind, right? For, not that it's a substitute for medication. If you're depressed or highly anxious, it's not for that. But if you are feeling overwhelmed or disappointed from a setback or afraid, those remedies are fantastic. So I think we need to do something with that as a solution. And I think that would help the person that is not needing medical help but can yet feel themselves sliding. And I know you've had kind of some experience.
Yeah, well, kind of relating back to Melissa when she's talking about, you know, the financial strain of things. I've had experiences in people who need this help and need assistance.
Right.
You finally get that help. You get to where you are off the waiting list, which is fantastic. And then they go and they seek that help. We see the bill that comes with that. So it comes down to that affordability with it. But combating mental health and the stigma behind it, you know, a lot of people are receptive to it, but when people want to talk and engage, some people freeze up and they have that uncomfortability that, you know, can kind of be a little bit daunting at times.
A lot daunting.
A lot daunting.
Oh, absolutely. I actually have a great, funny story. I don't know. Funny's the first word
Not
for
the
it.
subject is funny.
Okay. I remember back when I was in college, I was going through a lot, and I knew I really needed to seek out counseling. And we had free counseling at the school. It was great. You could sign up for it. But the thought of taking that first step was so scary. I remember for, I think it was almost 7 or 8 weeks straight, I would walk up to the counseling office front desk, which then led into the computer lab, and I'd walk up and then immediately just turn and go into the computer lab. And it took me a couple of months of doing that every single week before I finally got up the courage to actually just stop at the desk and be like, I need to make an appointment. Because again, the stigma and everything, and, you know, feeling like you need to be strong or whatever it is, can be very hard to kind of admitting you need help and knowing how to take that first step.
It's a bit like being an alcoholic or a drug addict, I would think, admitting that you need help, right? Yeah. So are you aware of any help groups that are out there that, you know, people can go to? I mean, with drugs we have Alcoholics Anonymous, we have people like that.
Yeah.
But is it all more private healthcare?
It can be private healthcare, but I'm a big advocate of reaching out to someone who you trust and who you really feel like good to talk to, because I know in my experience, having people come to me and talk to me, I've reached out for them. So I do the calling and I do the initial, you know, and that's where I got hung up at calling these offices and sorry, we're full. So that became a little bit of a roadblock.
Has that been in the past couple of years? Like, that's how bad it's been, basically?
That is how bad it's been. It was COVID, and it was, you know, someone reached out and they were struggling, and I, you know, they're too scared to initial, you know, start that process. So I started it for them, and it was really sad to see. So that's why I'm a big advocate in talking to someone who you trust, someone who you think can help you, and someone who you find that comfortable, you know, whether it be family
or
friends, or someone that you just might think is.
And you know, I
is to
know
talk
people who prefer to talk to somebody that doesn't know them.
Yes.
Because it's not quite as embarrassing or something, you know.
And you
so,
leave after talking to that person, and you just, there's nothing that is connecting you.
Right.
And that's
But
nice.
you've lightened the load.
Yeah.
Exactly. Everything's off your chest. Everything's, you can breathe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think, you know, through all of this, we have to remember, so I'm going to put my homeopathic practitioner cap on now and say that general rule of thumb, if your mind is well, so is the rest of your body. Yeah. And the rest of your body will follow. But if the mind is unwell and it keeps on going continuously, then whatever's in your genetics begins to manifest. Yep. And I think that was reflected recently when we all got out in the sunshine.
Yes.
How much better we all felt. So I think if we take that basic principle and in doing what we're doing, remind people, mental health, having your mind well and healthy thinking, whether it's your hormones or your living situation or how you're feeling and sharing with a friend, you will remain well and you too will get through this.
Mm-hmm.